Hello family, I'm Robert and I'm a real alcoholic.
Hey, Robert.
I want to welcome everyone to the Atlanta Step Up Society book study. The name of our study is Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. Let's open with a moment of silence. Serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. For the last 2 weeks I haven't been here, and most people around the world know that my nephew died. And he was a member of Crisscross. And it's been hard on the family, but we're strong. And we're going to kind of talk about a little bit of stuff like that tonight. I was thinking, like, because a lot of people were like, how your nephew died, and we hear that they don't really know. The autopsy and the blood work haven't came back. But they're saying a possible drug overdose, right? So I'm listening to this, and then the news coming up to me saying, well, you his uncle, but you got a drug rehabilitation program, right? And through the whole process, I learned something. And kind of caught me by surprise. And I was out when we doing the beauty of the body, the review the body. And see, I never been to a funeral that lasts a week alone. The one I'm, dead today, wake one day and then gone the next day, not the whole week. So that was something different, And a guy walked up to me, and I was trying to see, like, a lot of people do hang around funerals. I didn't know that. They just come because it's a funeral. They eat and all this and pay their tribute, I guess. Guy walked up to me and said, he said, don't feel guilty. Don't feel like it's over. He said, because some kind of way God had your hands tied. So it's still going to be a bigger picture. He said, sometimes God got a way of tying your hands because his plan to see it through the end, not my plan. That makes sense? And for the record, he did have periods of sobriety. He worked up here 2 years and didn't drink and drive. So, and my family is like everybody else's family. We suffer from the disease of addiction. It's in my family, But, and then the second thing I want to talk about is my cousin Ron did the meeting for the last 2 weeks, and I've been listening to the tapes and stuff. He did an excellent job. Excellent job. It even went to the point where people told me he looked better on YouTube than he do in person. They say he look better on YouTube. He need to stay on YouTube. On camera, that better he do in person. So, that's kind of cool. But all I want to do is do a review, and we're going to start on the fourth step next week. But I just want to give my perspective, because he gave a great perspective. But I like to touch on clinical too, a little clinical work. And first thing I want to do, because we've been studying about being selfish and self-centered, right? And this is important. What I want to do, they did it from an actor's point of view. Like an actor wanting to run the show, right? I want to do it from my perspective, and probably, more our perspective. That makes sense? Yeah. So let's say, I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to draw a diagram. This is like clinical so you can see it. Self-will. Let's just put a little circle around self-will. And that will be me. All right. And then on the outside, I'm going to skip over a couple steps. So let's say on the outside, we have this world, what they call the worldly stuff, or outside stuff, outside of me. That makes sense? Like, I would say outside of here would be, I always wanted a job. That's outside of me. Education. Family. That's where you am. I wanted to be a good member in church. I needed a car. Still outside, right? What else we need? Clothes.
Housing.
House. Food. Party.
Significant other.
Relationship.
Money.
Money. So you get an idea, right? This right here is the outside world. Alright? A self-willed person is a person like me that operates because we studied logic and we started reasoning. I'm using my best thinking, my best reasoning to control this stuff out here. Alright? There's no spirituality in this. Alright? So I'm trying to control this. So what usually happens, I need a job. But in order to get a job, I have to get an education. Yeah. So when I go to get my education, I lose my job. I lost my job, I need money. They told me to go to church and tithe. Soon as I start tithing in church, I'm broke. I don't have no money. Okay, well, you know what I do? I work on my family. When you're working on your family, things don't go right, you go to plan B, relationships. Lose your family. I'm not doing too good. I'm going to buy me a car so I can go to church. As soon as I get the car, I start partying. There go church. What I do is I get me an education again, buy me a house, get a better relationship, and I stop partying. Soon as I start partying, I'm in the house. Next thing you know, I need some food. I buy too much food and too much clothes. Can't pay my house note. So, in essence, when we're in self-will, we trying to rest or gain satisfaction and happiness out of life by trying to juggle this world. We're always living in fear. Fear of losing this or losing that or running over here, running up. The thing about fear, fear is nothing but a thing in the universe. It's an illusion. But the point is, even fear itself is afraid. Fear is afraid. That makes any sense? If you're living in fear, fear is afraid to be in fear because you got to manipulate your mind. You got to manipulate and control situations so you don't be in fear. You got to control all of this so you don't be scared to lose anything. But at the end of the day, we lose it all. Since I'm so bottomed out, my best friend becomes drugs. Wow. Because I'm afraid. I'm living in fear. They tell me get some drugs so you can be more fearful. Then you're at rock bottom. That make any sense? So this is like this. I'm just throwing in some clinical stuff. So when we read the book, it make more sense. That makes sense. All right, let's go to page 60. I'm just going to go right there where it says, I'm just going to briefly do this tonight so we can get on into the fourth step. Being convinced. Let's start there.
Being convinced, we were at step 3, which is that we decided to turn our will and our life over to God as we understood Him. Just what do we mean by that, and just what do we do?
Being convinced, we were at step 3. Step 3 is we made a decision to turn our will, which is our thinking, and our lives, which is our behavior, over to the care of God as we understood him. So they're going to tell you right here, so just what do we mean by that, and just what do we do? So they're going to answer that question. Go ahead.
The first requirement is that we be convinced that any life run on self-will can hardly be a success. On that basis, we are almost always in collision with something or somebody, even though our motives are good. Most people try to live by self-propulsion. Each person is like an actor who wants to run the whole show. Is forever trying to arrange the lights, the ballet, the scenery, and the rest of the players in his own way. If his arrangements would only stay put, if people would only do what as he wished, the show would be great. Everybody, including himself, would be pleased. Life would be wonderful. In trying to make these arrangements, our actor may sometimes be quite virtuous. He may be kind, considerate, patient, generous, even modest and self-sacrificing. On the other hand, he may be mean, egotistical, selfish, and dishonest. But as with most humans, he is more likely to have varied traits.
All right. The first requirement is that we be convinced that any life run on self-will can hardly be a success. I just showed you that. If you're trying to juggle your life based on your own logic and reasoning, what you know, you're going to find a seat that's welcome to you in these rooms. Our best thinking, our best logic, my best understanding about life got me a seat in Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous. If you go through the scriptures, you can go to anywhere you want, especially in the Old Testament, and follow anybody's life. Just try it. Just go in there and look up Moses. And just kind of break it down like we do in the book study, and see if he don't go hit rock bottom. They didn't have to call on a God of his own understanding to bring him up. That make sense? See if he don't go out and get mad because he sees somebody killing a Jew, a Hebrew, and he go out beating him up, and he go out and kill the man, commit murder. The characters are just like us. Their best reasoning allowed them to hit rock bottom. This is everybody. I don't care who it is. Everybody on this planet gonna go through that. That's to fulfill Scripture. I didn't make Scripture. It's just the way it is. We're not exempt from that. That makes sense. So it said, can hardly be a success. On that basis, we are almost in collision with something or somebody. We're not having no little accidents. We having head-on collisions. Going 90 miles an hour, we bump into something, and they bump into us. Even though our motives are good. Remember I told y'all good intentions can still lead you to hell. We're manipulating people anyway. So, someone got, they see one of us coming, we got good intentions and good motives, they better run. I know what's about to happen. Most people, they didn't say alcoholics, they didn't say addicts. Most people try to live by self-propulsion, self-driven. I got this. I can handle this. I can accomplish this. Remember I told y'all when I hit rock bottom? When I mean rock bottom, I usually don't carry no change. But if I had a dime, and you put it right there, I would worship that dime. Because I had no hope or conception whatsoever where I'm going to get the next one from. There was nothing in me that could produce a dime. That makes sense? And even when I was at rock bottom, and it's not all my fault, I know that now, I was taught. Even when I was at rock bottom, the lowest, like a maggot under a rock, I can honestly tell you that once I started to rise up and get a little better, I thought it was me. I believed it was me. I would tell people I had a thing for, if I went in Walmart and got a job mopping the bathroom floors and cleaning the toilet, they don't even want me to mop the floors on the retail side. You stay in the bathroom. But in my mind, I know if I stay here long enough, I could be the manager of this place. And I would succeed. I didn't think it was a God in me that helped me do this. thought it was all me. The God of reasoning and logic. Did we not have that?
Yeah.
The God of reasoning and logic, my God, made me do these kind of things. Till I started studying and realized that I ain't had nothing to do with it. It was a power greater than me that's in me. That makes sense? All right, so we go through that, right? And then it says, each person is like an actor who wants to run the whole show. If forever trying to arrange the lights, the ballet, the scenery, and the rest of the players his own way. If you're trying to run everything your own way, then you are self-centered. That makes sense? Because everything ain't gonna go your way. That's the same as this. Trying to juggle everything outside of you to meet you. And the only way you can do that, you gotta manipulate this, control that, watch this, hide from that, run from this one, try to conquer that one. You're a ball of confusion. If his arrangements will only stay put, if people would do only as he wished, the show would be great. To me, that's crazy. God created everything. The birds know when it's hot in the summertime, they fly north by instinct. When it get cold, they fly south by instinct. Every 3 years in Alaska, the salmon know to swim the spawn in their own lake that they were born in. If it's 200 lakes there, rivers or streams, they go to the one they were born in without missing a beat. They got built-in instincts, that's God-given instincts. You get this room right here, 30 people. I tell everybody, we're going to leave this room, we're going to go from here to, let's say, Freedom Parkway. Everybody got to do it. Soon as we hit the steps, hit the door, everybody go their own way. Their own way. We got our own agendas. Even if it's life or death, it don't matter. We do our own thing. That makes sense? Well, I had a guy come in here not too long ago. He come into the program. He have absolutely no clue whatsoever. We tell him the program got 3 parts: residential, employment, and recovery. 2 weeks on the job, I don't want to do what my bosses tell me to do. I want to do this. Now we're watching him. He's only here by the hair of his chin. Because he's the worst employee we got. The worst one want to control the show. Told him he'd have to go. Insanity. But he wanted to arrange everything to suit him. That makes sense? In trying to make these arrangements, it says the show will be great. Everybody, including himself, will be pleased. Life will be wonderful. In trying to make these arrangements, our actor may sometimes be quite virtuous. That means righteous, morally excellent, like he got something going on. He can be kind, considerate, patient, generous, even modest and self-sacrificing. On the other hand, he may be mean, egotistical, selfish, and dishonest. But as with most humans, most people now, he is more likely to have varied traits. Most human beings on earth are like, I call it zebras. Striped with good and bad. Good and bad. More people in the Bible are zebras. Good and bad. That makes sense? Zebras. So here's the deal. If you don't understand that, let's take it to a crack house. You might understand it better then. If you got $500 in your pocket, you can be kind. No. You can be meager, you can be mean,
Yeah.
egotistical,
Yeah.
selfish and dishonest.
Yeah.
I'm in charge. I'm the actor. I got the money, I got the power.
That's right. That's right.
You go in there broke. Kind, considerate, patient, generous, modest, and self-sacrifice. Do anything to get a hit. Zebra. All this in 1 hour. Go in there, $500, 2 hours later broke. Then you done switch to a different shade of color. So now you understand it, right? You may say, there was somebody saying, I ain't no zebra, yes you is. Your track record show you that one. All right, let's go.
What usually happens, the show doesn't come off very well. He begins to think life doesn't treat him right. He decides to exert himself more. He becomes, on the next occasion, still more demanding or gracious, as the case may be. Still, the play does not suit him. Admitting he may be somewhat at fault, he is sure that other people are to blame. He becomes angry, indignant, self-pitying. What is his basic trouble? Is he not really a self-seeker even when trying to be kind? Is he not a victim of delusion that he can't wrest satisfaction and happiness out of the world if he only manages well? Is it not evident to all the rest of the players that these are things he wants? And do not his actions make each of them wish to retaliate, snatching all they can get out of the show? Is he not, even in his best moments, a producer of confusion rather than harmony?
That's key. That's very key. People think because you're doing all this being nice, people pleasing, trying to make sure this go right and that go right, going before beyond. Sometimes you just need to stay where you're supposed to be. That makes sense? Sometimes you just need to stay where you're supposed to be, because all you're doing is making more confusion for everybody else. All right? It says right here, what usually happens, the show doesn't come off very well. He begins to think life doesn't treat him right. When all this stuff starts to fail in your life, we think life is treating us bad. There is no spirituality in trying to do this. We're trying to make these things happen, force them to happen into our life. All right? He begins to think life doesn't treat him right. He decides to exert himself more. I'm going to try it harder than the last time. I'm going to get me a better job than the last time. I'm going to get me a better wife than the last one. I'm going to buy me a better car than the hoop did. So you exert yourself even more. Not looking at self now. You just exert yourself more. You put more energy into it. All right? He becomes, on the next occasion, still more demanding or gracious. Still being demanding or still kind and considerate, you know what I'm saying, giving and compassionate. As the case may be, still the play does not suit him. Admitting he may be somewhat at fault, he is sure that other people are more to blame. Most people blame others. Until you start looking at yourself, doing an inventory on yourself, I can guarantee you most people blame other people for the situation. If I don't pay my tithes and go to church, it was the pastor. It was him. He talked too long. He begged too much. And he drive a Cadillac. I quit. Family. Wife nags too much. All I want to do is just go home and chill. I don't want to hear nothing about no bills, cutting no grass, washing no windows, no plumbing. Leave me out of it. I'm gone. If the teachers would just understand that I have to be late to every class because I got a job. You know, if I'm going to evening school, I'm supposed to be there at 6:45. I get there at 8:30. They got to understand that I have a job and a family to support. These elves are not fair. They're not fair. You blame everyone else. food. They need to stop making them cakes. Because I'm trying to lose weight. And every time I look around, here comes this person bringing these cakes and chips and ice cream into the house. If she wasn't bringing that stuff, and I can lose these 10 pounds. Or if he wasn't bringing it, I can lose it. He weighed 135, or she weighed 135, I'm 210. If she would stop bringing it in the house, I can lose them 10 pounds. Blame everybody else. If the truck driver didn't stop at McDonald's, I'd be all right. You always got to pull up at McDonald's. Right across the street from McDonald's is Kroger's. All the salads and fruits you can get, but the truck driver did it. All we do is blame others. He becomes angry, indignant, self-pitying. What is his basic trouble? Now we got to find out what this person's trouble is. What is my problem? Says right here. Is he not really a self-seeker even when trying to be kind? I always have a ulterior motive.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, back in the past. But today I can just genuinely be kind because it's kind of in me now. But I used to always have a motive. You know what I'm trying to say? Especially in the relationship game. I know. You go and meet a female, you find out what the ex-boyfriend did, you king that across your computer in your mind, and you do the opposite. But there was a motive now. Oh, he treats you bad. I love you. I'd never do that. You know what I'm trying to say? Y'all female the same way. She never cooked for you. I got plenty of food for you. Come on over here. Come on over here. Meal, potato salad, greens, fried chicken. You know what you want. You took all your money or food stamps to feed this man. You know, knowing good and well, you ain't have that light bill money and that rent. You know good well you didn't have that rent money and that light bill, but let me go and feed them and get them all up so I can drop that bomb on them. Always a motive. All right. Here's my favorite part. Is he not a victim of the delusion that he can wrest satisfaction and happiness out of this world if only he manages well? Let's break that down. The victim is the one that's always me.
Yeah.
I'm hurt. Poor me. They do this to me. All right. Of the delusion, that's a false belief, unsound and misleading reasoning. It's false belief, a false ideal. They say that we are victims of a false ideal, a false way of thinking. This is deep now. A false way of believing something. This is what we are so turned backwards on. That he can rest, that means force or put some determined effort, satisfaction and happiness out of this world if only he manages well. What they're saying is that for me to get some kind of satisfaction and some kind of happiness out of my life, I have to manage this world well. I see it all the time. If I just made more money on the outside, I'm going to be happy. If I just get a better job, I'm going to be happy. Now, I know I'm an employer instead of employee, but I can honestly tell you, I used to think like that too. I get me a nice job, I'm so happy. I go to work that morning in my happy, joyous life. The man tell you, We got to lay you off. I put my happiness in his hands. Thinking having a lot of money make you happy. Still outside of you. I save money. I done did it before. I saved $2,000-$3,000, $5,000. I had $40,000. Go out and take one hit. Boop, gone. Gone. I thought that money would make me happy. I thought other people would make me happy. I thought cars. I bought a brand new car one time. I really went to get one type of car and bought another type of car, but I was happy. I pulled up in the driveway of my house and looked at that car, say, the hell with this, I don't like it. Now I got 5 years of notes. Something I don't like. But I thought it was going to give me happiness. You know what I mean? I'm going to force happiness out of it. Relationship, I ain't got to tell y'all about them. This person or that person going to make me happy. But the point of the delusion, the false belief, is that we believe that outside stuff, material stuff, will make us happy. Anything that can die is not alive. That's the delusion. I'm going to say that again. If you got something, a car, and it can die, it wasn't alive. There's no eternity in that. And that's what Jesus was talking about. You got in a relationship, and it can go away, disappear, it wasn't alive. See, we got a spiritual program. We're trying to get eternal stuff that lasts forever. When my body's gone, I still got that. Because the I am, or the being, is still in me. It's nothing on the outside. We believe so much in the outside, in this false delusion, this unbelief, this incorrect thinking that we're sitting in here. Trying to do this. That's why this is a spiritual program. We got so much. I don't think there's another group of people on the planet outside Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous that have tried to fix this world as hard and as much as we have. My wife's not an addict. She's still with her same family. That makes sense? We done been in and out of family so much it's crazy. They send their kids this car. They don't do all of this. They just hit this one time. It's cool. You know what I'm saying? Get a car, pay it all the way off, and still drive it. We get a car and we sell it to the drug man for 2 hits a dough. Still got 4-year payments on it. Cause we thought the drug gonna make us happy. Soon as you finish getting high, what happened? You got some misery. And what? Don't matter to us. They can come get it. I didn't want it no way.
That's right.
You know? Normal folks can go out and buy a house and keep the house up all the time. We go and get an apartment, 3 months later, get evicted. Ain't paid not one note.
That's right.
Pay the deposit and the first deposit on the rent. That's it. If you go and buy a crack house, you can got one of them free. You ain't have to put no deposit down. So my point is, we live in this false delusion, and it's still happening in recovery today. People still try to get satisfaction outside and don't look on the inside. You don't have to go out and do that. God is the beautiful human imagination. You can use your imagination to get this stuff and don't have to go nowhere. Put your hands in your pocket and come to you. If you know how to do it. That makes sense? I just want to throw that in. So it says that, is he not a victim of the delusion that he can wrest satisfaction and happiness out of this world if he only manages well? Then you go back to step 1, that our lives have become unmanageable. We're trying to juggle life with our own logic and reasoning, with my great brain and my understanding of life. Didn't work. It says that is it not evident to all the rest of the players that these are the things he wants? And do not his actions make each of them wish to retaliate, snatching all they can get out of the show? Is he not, even in the best moments, a producer of confusion rather than harmony?
Yes.
You ever worked around somebody and all they do is, let me do this, let me do that, let me do that, you will sit down. Sit somewhere down. Because everything you touch is half done. Sit down. Shine your shoes or something. Tie your shoestrings. Because you really messing up my little program over here. That's how we do. We into everything. You know why people do that? Because they live in fear. They're afraid of themselves. That makes sense, y'all? You're afraid of yourself. So if you're afraid, you're in fear. And fear is afraid of fear. So you ain't got nothing to do but be fearful about everything. So you all over the place. There's no faith. Faith, you ain't got to juggle all this. Let God help you. And be at peace. All right, let's do the next one.
Our actor is self-centered, egocentric, as people like to call it nowadays. He is like a retired businessman who lolls in Florida sunshine in the winter, complaining of the sad state of the nation. The minister who sighs over the sins of the 20th century. Politicians and reformers who are sure all would be utopia if the rest of the world would only behave. The outlaw, safecracker who thinks society has wronged him. And the alcoholic who has lost all and is locked up. Whatever our prostinations, are not most of us concerned with ourselves, our resentments, or our self-pity?
It says our actor is self-centered. That's why sometimes I like to come off the actor thing, you know what I'm trying to say? And put it on the board, kind of like what we are. Egocentric, as people like to call it nowadays. He is like the retired businessman who lounges, you know, in the sand and the beach,
Oh, yeah.
in the sunlight, in the Florida sunshine, in the winter, complaining about the sad state of the nation. You know, just laying back, you know, kind of lazy, enjoying the sun, talking about what's going on in politics and stuff, and how bad it is everywhere else. You ain't doing nothing about it, but you there to, you know, babble. That's what I call babbling. That's why they had the thing called Babylon. Just babble, just talk for nothing. That makes me sick sometimes. The minister who sighs over the sins of the 20th century. This is my favorite right here, though. This is me. Everybody got their favorites in the book. You know what I'm trying to say? This is mine. Politicians and reformers who are sure, very sure now, politicians and reformers are sure all would be utopia, that's like heavenly, if the rest of the world would only behave. They're like the U.S. saying, all right, China and Korea and Japan, if y'all behave now, we got a good world. Just do what we say do. Ain't they not trying to control it? Trying to force satisfaction in somebody else? And then when you tell them too much, like Korea did not too long ago, they picked their little head up, I'm finna shoot one now, I'm gonna shoot one. You know, even they were calling it a bluff, but they did rise up. You can't force other people with other culture to do what you think they should do. Now that's in the book, so when the politicians start writing me, they need to read. The outlaw safecracker who thinks society has wronged him. He's breaking in and stealing something. He thinks that that's what they do to me. The alcoholic who has lost all and locked up. Whatever our protestations, that's strong opinions, the different opinions, are not most of us concerned with ourselves, our resentments, our self-pity. We'll do the next one.
Selfishness, self-centeredness, that we think is the root of our troubles. Driven by 100 forms of fear, self-delusion, self-seeking, and self-pity, we step on toes of our fellows and they retaliate. Sometimes they hurt us, seemingly without provocation. but we invariably find that at some time in the past, we have made a decision based on self, which later placed us in a position to be hurt.
All right, selfishness and self-centeredness. I think I told y'all once before what it kind of meant. That you can take them tapes. That if you don't know what selfish means, here, this is the best way for me to explain it. You know what's right. I know what's wrong. I'm gonna do what I want to do. It's like a big old highway going up that I'm gonna do what I want to do. I know it's wrong to take my money and not give my kids no money. You know what I'm trying to say? And spending on drugs. I know that's wrong. I know it's right to take the money home and support them, but I'm gonna do what I want to do. That's selfishness. And selfishness had to be destroyed. You cannot be in this program and be selfish. All right? That we think is the root of our trouble. Here we go. Root means underground, originate, like a root in a plant underground. The roots in our hair we can't see. That's what it originates from. The hair originates from the roots, right? Our teeth got roots. You see the teeth, but inside is the roots. Our nerves have roots. So, our problem, the root of our problem, is self-centeredness. The alcohol and the drugs and all this behavior and juggling in the world is the symptoms. That makes sense? We are using drugs because we are selfish people. We only concerned about ourselves. And we get to the point that we separate ourselves from God. That makes sense? We're not connected. You know, they talk about, I think it was Lucifer being cast out. I don't know about Lucifer, but he was selfish in his own way, right?
Right.
Then that make me Lucifer. I wasn't there what he did, but I seem like if I read the story, I did the same thing. Now, if I was Lucifer, because I was selfish, I don't know what y'all was. I guess you're going to blame it on the devil. Or maybe my self-centeredness made me Lucifer. Put yourself in the place of the situation. The root of my problems and my trouble was self-centeredness. Driven by 100 forms of fear. Remember I told you fear controls this whole thing? We're manipulating, we're trying to juggle everything because of fear. And fear is afraid of itself. So it makes no sense to live in fear. Even fear is afraid. Fear, self-delusion, false beliefs about self, self-seeking, and self-pity. We step on the toes of our fellows and they retaliate. You go out and you don't pay your car note, they're going to retaliate. You go and get in a relationship and you mistreat the person, they're going to retaliate. You go out and you mistreat your family and you got an extended family, they're going to tell everybody about what you did, they're going to retaliate. You try to go in their houses, they close the doors. Call the police. They retaliate. And we blame them for not looking at our part. All right? Sometimes they hurt us, seemingly without provocation, without reason. But we invariably find that at some time in the past we have made decisions based on self, which later places in a position to be hurt. When we start doing the step work, you're going to see that. When you get to column 4, you will see that every decision that I made basically was started by me. Everything that I thought other people did wrong to me, I set the ball rolling. It was all me. All right? Let's do the next one.
So our troubles, we think, are basically of our own making. They arise out of ourselves, and the alcoholic is an extreme example of self-will run riot, though he usually doesn't think so. Above everything, we alcoholics must be rid of this selfishness. We must, or it kills us. God makes that possible. And there often seems no way of entirely getting rid of self without his aid. Many of us had moral and philosophical convictions galore. but we could not live up to them, even though we would have liked to. Neither could we reduce ourselves sinning as much by wishing or trying on our own power. We had to have God's help.
All right. So our troubles, we think, is basically of our own making. We know that by now, right? Everything in my life, let me see if I can say this and try to get everybody to understand it. Everything that happened around me or in my life is me pushed out. That make sense? It's me. If I'm in a bad situation, it was me who created the bad situation. No matter what it is. It's me pushed forward. Alright, so it says that. So our troubles, we think, are basically of our own making. Every problem you ever had in your life came and originated from you. It was you. Whether good or bad, it was you. Everything in your life, where you live, who you date, your bank account, your automobile, everything around you is you pushed out. It started in your imagination. If you got a boyfriend you don't like, it was you. You painted the picture of that man, and you convince yourself you want one like that. So when it shows up in your world, can't blame nobody but yourself. If he lazy, sitting at home, don't want to go to work, you go out and make all them six-figure money, paying all them bills and stuff, and he's sitting in that, it was you. It's you. It's not him. Don't come back and get mad at him. Get up and get a job. It's you. It's you. You created, you imagine that, and you love it. Because if it didn't, change your thinking. Take the lazy man. You can do this. You can change him, get him a job, put him out at work in your imagination. You go home one day and say, honey, I'm going to work. Change it. Change your thinking. He got to go. The reason he stays there is because you're afraid and you want to control it. You want to manipulate him. You want to be in charge. So he just take your lazy butt right on the couch while you doing all that manipulating and managing and all this kind of crap. It was you. I ain't even want to talk about the men. Men don't do it with one, they got three. So our troubles, we think, are basically of our own making. They arise out of ourselves. Don't it say it right there? It don't say they come from someone else. Our trouble come from me. My trouble comes from me. Everything that happened in my life was me. It was Robert. It was my thinking that did it. That's the kind of creative power we have. That makes sense? And the law don't change. Whether you thinking good or bad, it's still going to manifest. It don't change because you thinking bad. It's going to give you that. Change your thinking, it give you good. It don't care. No respect of persons. They arise out of ourselves, and the alcoholic is an extreme example of self-will run riot. Y'all know what a riot is? Tearing up and burning a city and throwing cocktail bombs and looting and stealing and all that. They saying the alcoholic is that himself. He go through a neighborhood and torture it. Remember when you was using and you were homeless? Or in somebody else's property, getting high. Don't pay no rent. Just take it over. Go in the convenience stores and just take what you want. You go in there and the agent, no, don't come in here. You know, the whole 9 yards. Go to the family house. It's like a tornado came through there. Self-will run riot. It says, though he usually doesn't think so. Above everything, we alcoholics must be rid of this selfishness. We must, or it kills us. To keep this self-centered lifestyle, to keep this rooted selfishness in us, first of all, it's the cause of all our troubles. It's the cause of all this stuff. It's the root that made us use drugs. It's because we're so selfish that we don't care about nobody but ourselves. And it will kill you. It'll take you to your grave. it'll eat you alive, like a stage. I wouldn't even say stage 4, stage 6 disease. It'll kill you. There's no choice but to kill you. It says we must, or it kills us. God makes that possible. When I was at my bottom and I thought I was rising up, becoming better, it was really God. Because I didn't even have enough power to get the second dime. I didn't have enough wisdom or knowledge or hope to get the second dime. So whenever I thought I was going into a place doing, building myself up to the highest standard, it was really God. It wasn't me. That's how this whole thing about Step Up came along. I didn't always have this company, this thrift store. I worked at Goodwill. I was just hanging the clothes in the back in Goodwill. That was my job. But I didn't know that it was God, what I'm trying to say, until later on. The next thing you know, I was managing a store. Then I ended up managing 5 stores, but I was in recovery then. I was getting healing. Then I stepped out and got my own. So the process continued because by that time, I believed in a power greater than myself. When I was doing it my selfish way, I ride to the top just as fast as I went up, I went down. Up and down. Yeah. Up and down. But this time I was able to stay because of power greater than myself. That makes sense? And I had God's help. Alright, it says, let's go down. Neither could we reduce our self-centeredness much by wishing or trying on our own power. Our own power is out. Y'all got that right? That's my whole point. It ain't about us no more. We had to have God's help. Read the next one. We got 2 more. And then we got
This is how and why. This is the how and why of it. First of all, we had to quit playing God. It didn't work. Next, we decided that hereafter in this drama of life, God was going to be our director. He is the principal, we are his agents. He is the father, and we are his children. Most good ideas are simple, and this concept was the keystone of the new and triumphant arc through which we pass to freedom.
All right. We had to have God's help. This is the how and the why of it. First of all, we had to quit playing God. I didn't know how to quit playing God. I really didn't know what God was. I had no conception of God. Because I thought God was in heaven, way away from me, and I'm on Skid Row. So when I read this in the beginning, I couldn't quit playing something I know not how to play. You know what I'm trying to say? I wasn't a player. If you told me quit playing Satan, I could have got in the game. Quit doing wrong, I could have got in the game. I didn't understand that. Quit playing God, and I'll be honest about that. But I know the next 3 words, it didn't work. I know how to quit playing God, but I know what I was doing didn't work. And that was enough for me just to listen to you folks and take suggestions. Because the life that I tried to build did not work. With all the education and this and that and military, it did not work. I was still on rock bottom. So when I came in here, I didn't know how to quit playing God, but I did know how to take suggestions. I had been beaten to submission. That makes sense? Somebody told me they had 5 years, 10 years. I listened. I had 22 days. What can I contribute to that? The math didn't add up to me. I listened to somebody that had 1 year. It didn't matter. I know what I had. Nothing. I go into treatment thing. I didn't make too much fuss. I did what their people asked me to do. They say, write this, I wrote it. I was first to hand in my homework. And I told y'all earlier today, the people who go the extra mile, if you go the extra mile, you will see that you're lonely. People go the extra mile, gonna find out they're on that extra mile by themselves. The rest ain't gonna do that. And that's what gets you over on this. Go the extra mile. It said that didn't work. Next we decided that hereafter in this drama of life, God was going to be our director. Only thing I wanted was to just take suggestions. Every time I had to make a decision, I would call up my sponsor before I made the decision. Till I learned how to make decisions. I'm going from A to B. That's my mind. I said, let me dial first before I go to A to B. They say, all right, you need to go to C. But I didn't have C planned. That's why I called you. You called me, so I can give you another, another way of doing things. That works, y'all. If you're trying to figure out all this on your own, leaning on your own, you're going to be on your own. God is going to be our director. He is our principal. He is our agent. He is the Father. We are His children. All they're saying is that we're going to get a closeness. It's going to be one. One. The spiritual math is a mystery. I and the Father are one. It's said a lot of times. I and the Father are one. 1 plus 1 equals 1. Not 1 plus me equals 2. That's a division. I told y'all before, if God to me is this close, it's way too far. Way too far. In me, in my wonderful, beautiful imagination. And God is in each and every one of you. Not next to you. Not behind you or in front of you. It's in you. Most ideals are simple, and this concept was the keystone of the new and triumphant arts to which we passed into freedom. I'm going to do the last one in a few minutes. When we sincerely took such a position, allowing God to guide us, all sort of remarkable things followed. We had a new employer, being all-powerful. He provided us what we needed if we kept close to Him and performed the 12 steps well. Here's the deal. If you think you can take the war that we've been in for the last 10 years, take all the fire, all the ammunition, all the power that war created, all that power, all that explosion, all the missiles and everything, this power I'm talking about, God, that would be like a firecracker compared to the power of God. This universe, that we have in us. That makes sense? That's like a firecracker. Woo! Established on such a footing, we became less and less interested in ourselves and our little plans and designs. Once we start working these 12 steps, we become more and more concerned about helping other people stay clean and sober. Not about me, it's about them. More and more we become interested in seeing what we could contribute to life. I never gave anything to life. I only want to take from life. Now I want to give back to life. All right? As we felt new power flow in, as we enjoyed peace of mind, as we discovered we could face life successfully, as we become conscious of His presence, consciousness in the mind of His presence. Not outside of my mind, in my mind. That makes sense? In my mind. All right, don't be walking down the street looking to the right till you see Him. We began to lose our fear of today, tomorrow, and the hereafter. We were reborn. Reborn means that I am in the body. I'm in this flesh. I lived, I tried, everything I had resulted in this. Total ball of confusion, homelessness. Reborn means that my spirit woke up inside of me. I allowed it, that little flame, that little flicker of light that I had inside of me, I allowed it to grow and to expand. Then I started helping others, and I started living better, and I started enjoying life, and it started expanding. The power of God that I have, I want to teach this globally around the world. I don't want to be just in step up all the time. Everywhere. That's how my thing has expanded, and it will go, and it will grow, and it will expand. It has no choice. I claim it. That's who I am, a world speaker. So what I'm saying is that's reborn, because the Robert that did this, the Robert that created that is dead. In fact, my name wasn't even Robert when I was doing that. It was Greg. They called me Greg. I changed that one. Greg is dead. The only people know that would be my family. That makes sense? They call him, let me speak to Greg. But the guy work out here know it. Greg is dead. Greg died. It don't exist. I've been reborn. We've been reborn in here. All right, thank y'all for a good